hope your day is full of pinto beans and string beans and green beans. I do think that string beans and green beans are the same thing. Weird that there's two names for string and green beans. It's like, pick one. Pick a lane bean. What the fuck is going on? Kidney beans, black beans. Here's the thing. I thought I knew more beans than I know. Lima beans. I think I need to eat more beans. Literally, beans are my least favorite food. But they're a great source of protein. I hope your day is full of black beans, pinto beans. I'm just repeating the beans. Kidney beans, lima beans. I thought for sure I would have more beans in my arsenal, but I'm beaned out. What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. It is I, Shenk, reporting live from Shanksville. So here's the thing. I wanted to get a guest on the solo pod, but I found out today I got strep throat. I should be back to having guests next week. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the podcast and showing love. I know last week's episode was a little bit blurry because I was shooting from an Airbnb, and the lighting wasn't right. Sometimes it's hard when I'm on the road to get you a clean podcast, but I always try my best no matter what to get the podcast out. I'm pretty consistent, so thank you for bearing with me. And also, if you haven't watched last week's episode with Hans Kim, give it a go. It's a fun episode. All right. Before we get into this week's episode of Shenk, I just want to let you know I am going to be coming to Yuma, Arizona. That's right, Yuma, Arizona, January 27th at 8 p.m., co-headlining with Kim Congdon. You can find out all the information on that on my Instagram at Princess Shenk. That's princess like normal and then another SHENK. So make sure to head over there for information on the Yuma show. I'm also going to be in San Diego March 19th at Mic Drop with Kim Congdon. We're co-headlining there. We're also going to be coming to Arizona in June. And as always, more dates on my Instagram and here on the pod as the dates come and unfold. You know, the year just started, so we're getting some things on the calendar. It's going to be a great year, my little Shankstas. Okay, yes. So, and I'm also going to be at the West Side Comedy spot in Santa Monica next week on January 26th. If you're in the area, come support live comedy. You won't regret it. I'll tell you that. If there's one thing you won't regret, it's going to laugh. Guys, before we get into this week's episode, I just want to tell you about something that excites me, and that's socks. Oh, yeah. Look down at your feet right now. Are you wearing socks? If you're not wearing socks, ask yourself why. Socks are the most essential accessory of all time. I don't even think they're an accessory. I think they're a necessity. If I see a person walking around without shoes or socks, I think, something went wrong. You know, I'm all for hippie lifestyle, but when it comes to going into a store, put a fucking sock on, put a fucking shoe on. Let's keep it together, people. You know what I mean? I just got back from Austin. I had such a great time in Austin. I did Christina P's podcast, Where My Mom's At. If you haven't watched that, go give it a go. It was so much fun. I also recently, Whitney Cummings came on This Bitch podcast. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's up right now on YouTube under This Bitch. That's bitch, BTCH. As always, subscribe to my Patreon. You get this bitch a week early, and you get bonus content that's not up on the regular YouTube. We recorded a episode of This Bitch podcast live from Austin with Tony Hinchcliffe, and that's going to be dropped on the Patreon shortly. So look out for that. Again, I urge you to buy a pair of socks. Support the people who support your favorite podcast. They've been supporting me for as long as I've had this podcast. And what I love about them is that they have so many cool designs to choose from, whether you're into Dungeons and Dragons or gnomes. There's a pair of socks for you. Mr. Rogers, Bob Ross, they have great pop culture socks. They make great gifts, great Valentine's Day gifts, great I'm thinking of you gifts, great I'm sorry I fucked your friend gifts. If you're in the doghouse, get out of the doghouse with socks. I don't know if it'll work, but it's worth a try. At least she'll look down at her feet and be like, okay, he wasn't that bad of a guy, maybe. All right. So I have some questions from you guys. This is going to be an interesting episode because I asked you guys for questions and you guys sent some questions. I'll tell you that. And I also have a list of things to talk about. So first of all, yes, I'm working on getting to Europe for shows. People keep asking me, are there going to be UK shows? Are there going to be Ireland shows? And we're working on that now. I just renewed my passport. So hopefully later this year, we'll be going abroad. You can come see me live in another country. That would be so fun. Be interesting to see if the jokes still work in another country. But yeah. All right, so here's the first thing I want to get into, and that's, I read on Reddit today that the first 3D printed ear was put on someone's head. That's probably a weird way to say it, but that's what it is. Someone printed an ear from a 3D printer and then transplanted the ear onto a person's head. And that's crazy. The future is trippy as fuck. I mean, to me, would I want my ear to come from a printer? No, it's weird as fuck. But you know who could have benefited from it? Van Gogh. Lots of people could probably benefit from it. Like, if we could just start printing body parts out of 3D printers, we're really onto something. It's freaky as fuck. I don't know, like, check out my new titties. I got them from my 3D printer. Oh, he's got a huge dick. It's because he printed it from his 3D printer. He got a penis transplant. I'm just thinking, like, how we could really run with this, you know? If you get a 3D printer, you could just be printing body parts out all day. Be printing asses, dicks. Obviously, I'm a 12-year-old boy because the only things I say are asses, dicks, and boobs. Okay. Yeah, but the 3D printer, that's interesting, but also freaky to me. Like, I don't know. It feels weird that my body part came out of a printer, the same thing that printed my, I don't know, like paper? I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not making sense to me. It's not vibing with me, the 3D printer body part situation. It's like, oh, what are you up to? Nothing, just printing out a 3D belly button for my printer. Imagine you're printing out belly buttons and toes and like all different random features. The 3D printer to print out body parts is insane to me. Okay. I also wrote this down because this is something I want to get into. What the fuck is up with adults who don't like crusts? Like, I don't want to see a grown man who won't eat the crust on a sandwich. It's a turnoff. Nothing drives my pussy more than a man who won't eat the crust off a sandwich. What about the people who don't eat the crust on pizza? I'm sorry, what? What do you have against crust? There's anti-crust people and it's a problem. Like, no grown man should not want to have a tuna sandwich because it has crust on it. Your palate should evolve. You should evolve your palate so you can get crust. I'm coming for people who don't eat the crust on pizzas and people who don't eat the crust on their sandwiches because what's going on there? Okay? Anti-crust people? Crusts are essential. Crusts really drive home the food. You know what I mean? Like, the crust of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a different experience than the sandwich itself. And to me, when I see a man who's not eating the crust on their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I'm seeing a man who's not good in bed. I'm seeing a man who's not going to eat pussy. If you're not eating the crust on your pizza, I don't think you're going to be able to make me come. Prove me wrong. Okay, also adults who don't like sushi, what the fuck is that about? It's like, grow up. It's a good source of protein. It's fresh. As long as you're not eating it all the time because no one wants mercury poisoning. I don't really understand how mercury poisoning works, to be honest. I just think that it's weird to be an adult and to just, it's one thing if you're allergic. It's another thing if you're just like, I don't like the crust. It's weird. Grow up. Get some balls, sir. Eat the crust. Okay, the best cereals. I'm going to rank the best cereals for you right now. This podcast is all over the map. It's a solo Shenk. You're welcome. Okay. the best cereals. So first for me, I'm going Frosted Flakes. I'm not afraid to say it, baby. Frosted Flakes are a classic. You can't fuck up a Frosted Flake. It's loyal. It's always the same thing. You never have a bad Frosted Flake. Okay? Tony the Tiger, good mascot. I like everything that's happening there. So 1, Frosted Flakes. 2, this is going to surprise some people. They're going to say, huh? What? But that's just me. I zig when you think I'm going to zag. Grape nuts. Big fan. One thing about mommy, she loves her grape nuts. I want a bowl of grape nuts with bananas. Okay? That's 2. So we have Frosted Flakes, grape nuts. What's 3? I'm out of cereals that are good. I'm going Lucky Charms, okay? Lucky Charms, not the healthiest, but there's something about it that's fun. It's pure joy. Yes, I want to eat a marshmallow in the shape of a rainbow for breakfast. Okay, so that's 3. I need 2 more cereals. Fuck. I think maybe Chex, the cinnamon Chex. If you guys haven't had the cinnamon Chex, you're missing out. Something about cinnamon, I also don't trust people who don't like cinnamon. Cinnamon it brings food to another level. All right, so we're talking cereal. Shredded wheat, not my thing. It's like a stack of hay. I need 1 more cereal. I already named 4. I literally cannot think. Oh, you know what I want? I'm going Special K. Special K with red berries. A classic. Kind of healthy, kind of bad for you. I don't know. Either way, I'm eating it. Those are my top cereals. Okay. Also, this is just something I need to get off my chest. If you're someone who plays crosswords, if you're someone who likes puzzles, it's like, get a life. Okay? Who has the time to sit down and build an image with 1,000 different pieces? I remember as a kid, I would shake the present, and if I heard lots of puzzle pieces moving around, because when it's a puzzle, everything's just like all jiggly sounding. It's like loose cardboard pieces just shaking around. As a kid, I'd be like, oh no, a puzzle. It's like, this is just something to get me to sit quietly with my own thoughts. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to sit quietly with my own thoughts. I'm trying to avoid my own thoughts. And if I'm going to sit quietly, I might as well be meditating. I don't need to be putting cardboard pieces together that somehow fit. People who play solitaire, it's so sad. If you're someone who plays solitaire, it's like, get a boyfriend, get a girlfriend, get a life. Please. Playing cards by yourself, is there anything sadder? It's like, go jack off. That would be hotter than a man playing solitaire by himself. Actually, playing Minesweeper would be hotter than a man playing solitaire by himself. Nothing says I'm lonely with poor social skills more than an adult playing solitaire in the corner. Chess, who has the time? Chess is different because I feel like there's like strategy and people get into it and you're like using your brain. I'm not going to shit on chess players. But puzzle makers, puzzle connectors, puzzle people, puzzle me. Okay, who inspires me? Who inspires me? So many different people inspire me. That's a good question. I think, though, the people that inspire me the most are people who, like single moms. That's inspiring to me. I think it's really hard to raise kids by yourself. Single dads inspire me. Firemen, doctors, police officers, people who are putting their lives on the line for humans in our community. Doctors inspire me. Yeah, a lot of like the people who just show up to their lives even if they're mundane inspire me. Like, I think there's something to, we need all types of people. So it's like, I think you can find inspiration from everywhere. My mom inspires me. She's the sweetest, kindest, nicest person I've ever met. She's a little angel. Her name's Debbie. Who else inspires me? Robin Williams was a huge inspiration to me. I don't know. I think that's enough. Artists inspire me. Anyone who's been able to achieve a high level of artistry and make a living off of creating inspires me. I was watching this 60 Minutes thing. I watch 60 Minutes now. I'm a fucking adult, okay? You don't want to hear 15-year-olds talking about 60 Minutes. I feel old. I just realized that when I said I was watching 60 Minutes, it aged me 50 years. I just suddenly, a cane appears and I'm hunched over. A walker appears. A walker with tennis balls on it appears, and I'm like, anyways. Okay. Yeah, so I was watching, as I was saying, I was watching 60 Minutes, and this guy, Rick Rubin, pops up, and he's a music producer, and he just released a book about creativity, and he was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper. I think it was 60 Minutes. I don't know. Anything that's on basic television, I just go, hey, I think it's 60 Minutes. But it could have just been some show with fucking Anderson Cooper. I don't know. I'm a clown for a living. Take what I say with a grain of salt, but this is what I will tell you. Rick Rubin, he is a music producer, and he was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and was one of the most interesting conversations I've ever truly heard. And I'm pretty sure that his book just dropped. You can find it online on Amazon. I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm into and what inspires me. And listening to him be interviewed, because he is a music producer, so he's not the artist, but he's able to listen to what works for the artist. And it's really interesting and cool, because we need people like that. You know, like, creativity isn't just a one person thing. Like, creativity, I think, gets more interesting when it's collaborative. I think that you're able to reach new highs when you're getting different brains involved. You're able to pick each other's brains and build something more beautiful. So yeah, the Rick Rubin book looks really interesting. He was just talking about how he came in and he had a song from 9 Inch Nails, I think, that he gave to Johnny Cash, Hurt, and that became a huge hit, and it was his idea to give that song to Johnny Cash. So yeah, I don't know. I find inspiration everywhere. I think also inspired by teachers. That seems hard, to be taking care of children and not losing your shit all day. Like, what? That seems hard. What else? The people who deliver the mail inspire me. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to just do that every day. So yeah, I find inspiration from people who work hard and live good lives and are kind people, really. And then, of course, the obvious answer is Jim Carrey, because who isn't inspired by Jim Carrey? Okay, crossword puzzles. Adults who don't like sushi, grow the fuck up. I'm sick of it. I don't want to see you gagging on a piece of salmon as an adult man. Okay? Oh, you don't want to eat seaweed? Sub seaweed for rice, pussy? A man who doesn't eat sushi is not going to eat your pussy. I said it here. Favorite day off activity? That's a good question. I don't have many days off, but when I do have a day off, at this point, because my schedule has become so crazy, my favorite thing to do is to hike and just be outside and be in nature. And I like to sleep in, because that's a rarity. I like to exercise and really just kind of take care of myself and my mental health when I'm not working. So maybe I'm taking a bath. Maybe I'm doing a sauna. Maybe I'm getting my nails done. Maybe I'm getting my hair done. Maybe I'm buying myself a nice outfit, just stuff that brings me joy. Walking my dog. Walking my dog is one of my favorite things to do. Because dogs are so present. When you watch a dog and you experience the joy of a dog, you realize that they're really just living in the moment, and we can learn so much from dogs and children, I think. Really, it's interesting how things that we take care of end up being our teachers. If you've ever talked to a child and you've engaged in play with a child, it's easy to see that they're so present, and they're just so imaginative and creative and having fun. And I think that that's so inspiring. I think inspiration is everywhere. I I think people who continue to try hard and show up for their lives inspire me. This will just become like a list of everyone who inspires me. Okay, we covered it. Advice for men in their 20s trying to get women in their 30s. Yikes. Listen, I don't know. You think I know? I can't make it work with old guys. I can't make it work with young guys. I'm single. I'm a single clown, touring around the world. Just trying to make it, honey. Advice for men in their 20s trying to get women in their 30s. Okay, here first, I do have some things actually. Okay, one, have a plan. Like, make a dinner reservation. Follow through on the dinner reservation. Pick her up. Open the car door. These seem like basic things, but I think we've really gotten away from these things, and it makes you feel safer and more safe and taken care of when a man does these things, because you're like, oh, he's showing interest and I feel cared for instead of scared, you know? Because as a woman, sometimes it's scary going on dates with guys you don't know. You're like, okay, stranger. I'm on a date with a fucking stranger. This could go anyway. I'm on a date with a stranger who's not eating the crust of his pizza. Check, please. This guy's a loser. You know what I mean? Yeah, I brought it back to the crust off shit. Let's talk about the eggs. The egg crisis that's happening. It's overdue. Okay, so there's a shortage of eggs because of the avian flu. We just keep getting various plagues and flus and viruses. I don't know what's happening anymore, but all I know is that I can't get eggs, and I'm not happy about it, okay? Because if there's one thing that I like, it's a scrambled egg. It gives me protein. It gives me energy. If I come home late and I don't feel like making a whole thing, I'll make an egg. I can hard boil it. I can make an egg salad, which I never do because I'm not a monster. You'll never find me deviling eggs in my home. Okay? But now you may not even find me with eggs because there's an egg shortage due to the avian flu. There's an egg shortage in the country, and there's an egg shortage in my uterus. We need more eggs in 2023. No, there's not a shortage. There's some eggs. I got it tested. Don't worry, guys. Let's see. Best cereals. We did that. Crossword puzzles. We did that. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't ever know this about myself. Turns out, your girl Shenk, I'm a barbecue bitch. I was in Texas. I was eating brisket. I was eating ribs. I was eating chicken wings. I don't know what happened to me when I was in Texas, but it brought out another side of me. Okay, I didn't have any green vegetables while I was there. Maybe one day I had a salad and it was much needed. The things that happen, the food that you experience in Texas, the barbecue will make you come back to LA being like, you guys are all pussies. Goes to Texas once. Go to Texas once, come back talking about how everyone in LA is a pussy because they don't eat enough barbecue. Okay. Oh, I talked about the 3D printed ear, right? Yeah. Payphones? Why? Why do those still exist? It's like a sad relic from the past. Okay, this is something I do want to talk about, and that's house smells. The scent of your home. Something that's essential. Something that you might not even think about until you walk into someone else's home and you take a sniff. And you walk into their home and you go, oh, this doesn't smell good. This doesn't smell like my home. There's nothing better than walking into your own home and smelling the scent of your own home. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes you can't even smell the scent of your own home because you're just consumed by the scent of your home. Like if you leave for a week and then you come back into your home, it might smell differently than if you were in your home the whole time. Yeah, I'm talking house smells. It's important. I think house smells, they don't get talked about enough. Have you ever gone to someone's house, you walk in, you go, what the fuck is that smell? That's just the smell of their house. Like, oh, this is jarring. Light a candle, sweetie. Open a window, baby. Burn some incense. Fuck. I don't like the way your house smells, and I don't want to be rude, but I want to leave. A diffuser will change the game. If there's one thing I learned, buy a diffuser. Get a diffuser. You put a little essential oil in, put some water in. You can make the room smell like peppermint. You can make the room smell like the forest. You can make the room smell like lavender. Why wouldn't you do that? It's like house smells are important, and I don't think we're talking about them enough. You know? When you walk into a home and when I stay in a lot of Airbnbs, when I walk into the Airbnb and this smells wrong, I say, this can't be good. This is going to affect my rating for sure. Another thing that it has affected my Airbnb ratings, as I know you guys are dying to know what's affected my Airbnb ratings, my Airbnb reviews, construction. How come every Airbnb I've stayed in the last 2 months has had nonstop construction? I think that if you're going to have construction, you need to let the people know that they're getting into a construction zone. Don't surprise me with surprise construction, bitch. I'm giving you my money. You got it right in all caps on the Airbnb. There is construction. If you want to sleep in, it's not happening. And then I can use my discretion because maybe that doesn't matter to me. Maybe I'm an early bird, which I'm not. But if I would have known that there was construction, I would have changed my Airbnb plans. Can you see I got scarred from staying in an Airbnb where there was construction? Yeah, no. Also, when we were in Texas, Kim and I had to stay in the loft bed upstairs because I told her that she could stay in the downstairs room, in the bigger master room. And the second I did it, I regretted it because there was like these horrible like stairs and they were windy and they looked cool in the photo. But every time I had to pee, which is a lot, because one thing about your girl is that she's going to have to pee, is that like it was so loud to get down and they were cold and they were like steel stairs. Anyways, I instantly regretted it. I don't know how I got on the subject of the loft that I stayed in. Oh, the construction. Okay. Here's one thing that I know to be true, and that's I'm going to name my child something stupid. I just know it. It's not going to be a mainstream name. It's going to be like, this is my daughter, Teal. This is my son. I don't know. I can't think of anything. This is my daughter, Clementine, and this is my son, Asparagus. Like, in LA, people will do that. Okay? If you name your kid after a fruit or a vegetable, you should be examined mentally. I just know it. I know I'm going to name my kid something stupid, and I can't wait for it. Am I pregnant? No. Am I in a relationship? No. But I'm just planning for the opportunity to have offspring so I can name it something stupid and be like, that's my kid. I don't know why I wrote this down. Working service industry jobs. I recommend that everyone on planet Earth, no matter who they are, works one service industry job. For me, it was Saddle Ranch Chop House when I was 19. I sold bull rides. I said, they used to make me say the grading. This was the grading. Hey, you guys hungry? You ready for some great steaks? My name's Sarah. Follow me. And then I would say, oh, there's a little bit of a wait right now, but can I get you a shot on the house? And then I'd take the group and get everyone a shot. And then I'd say, you should try the cobbler. It's like the reason I work here, but I had never tried the cobbler before. So I was acting, baby. But yeah, just having those types of jobs builds character. I think that, as a creative person, trying to make it, whatever that means, you kind of get away from, like, you feel shame, and there shouldn't be shame in having these level jobs. These jobs are important. They're character building. We need these types of jobs. I think that it's also important to work in the service industry so that you know how to treat people in the service industry later. Nothing grosser than someone who's rude to a waiter. Nothing grosser than someone who doesn't understand that the world doesn't revolve around them. So yeah, I think like one of the main things that I want to do when I have a child eventually, who knows when that will be, is just to instill hard work within them so that they don't have this sense of everything's just owed to them and is expected from them. What else? There's a rise in loneliness in men today. Why? Porn. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that just seems like the answer. This was trending on Reddit. There's a rise in loneliness in men today. Why? Well, I think that women are really good at communicating our emotional needs and our feelings. And I feel like society, and I might be wrong with this is just what I'm saying, and who knows, I'm just a comedian clown. But it just feels like society has made it so that it's uncool for men to communicate their emotions. And for me, I love it when a man communicates his emotions. I love it when we can communicate and I can see where you're at and we can check in and, have these open, honest conversations. And I think that it's hard sometimes to be vulnerable, whether you're a man or a woman, you know? And that's probably why there's a rise in loneliness. Plus, it's like, social media, it makes you feel like you're connected to people without even seeing them, which makes you feel connected yet lonely, which is a weird, it's a weird dynamic. I also think that, yeah, like when I hear two men having honest conversations about their feelings, I'm truly amazed and inspired. I remember a long time ago, I listened to a podcast and it was Mark Maron and Duncan Trussell, and I was in my 20s. This was probably like 10 years ago. And I just listened to Duncan and Maron, two of my favorite male comics of all time, talking about their emotions and their feelings and all of these different things. And I remember hearing it and being like, wow, that's so profound, because there needs to be more of that. You know what I mean? I think that that's why Joe Rogan is so successful, because he's out there. He's a role model for men, helps men feel less alone. And so, yeah, I just feel like maybe not just men, but there's a rise in loneliness in general, just because of social media, technology. But I could see why specifically men, because of, you know, the old forms of toxic masculinity being reinforced. And it's like, you can call your friend and be like, hey man, I miss you, I'm feeling sad. And your friend will probably be like, oh, hey, really, man? Come over. Let's watch the game. That's how I think men cope. I don't know if this is right, but I think they just jack off. I think men cope by jacking off and watching games. What are you doing? I'm watching the game. What are you doing? Jacking off. What are you doing? Throwing back a beer, jacking off, lifting. You know? Women, we like taking baths. We like taking walks. We like crying, listening to music. You know? It's important to balance both our masculine and feminine sides, though, I think, because that's how you live a more balanced life. Okay, this was a solo episode of Shenk. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you all so much. Thank you guys for continuing to support the show. If there is a guest you want to hear on this podcast, comment below. Let me know. Let a hoe know who you want to hear on Shenk. Trying to grow the show as much as possible. And yeah, some weeks it's going to be different because I'll be traveling on the road, but I'm always consistent with the podcast and you'll always get an episode. That's one thing that you can guarantee for sure. Also, patreon.com/Sara Weinshenk. That's patreon.com/Sara Weinshenk, SaraweinShenk. And go buy a pair of socks. Oh, yeah, that's 3 O's HYEAH.com. Discount code Sara10. And if you're in LA and you want to come see live comedy, again, I'll be at the West Side Comedy Theater January 26th at 8 p.m. And then I will be in Yuma, Arizona the 27th with Kim Congdon. We're co-headlining. And then in June, we're coming back to Arizona. So look out for that. And we're going to be in San Diego at Mic Drop in March 19th. More dates soon. Love checking in with my Shankstas and love you. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and showing up every week. I hope you guys all have a safe, happy, bubbly, fun fucking week. And don't be a pussy. Eat the crust on your sandwiches and eat the sushi without gagging. Be a man.